especially in education. Teachers are pretty overwhelmed, and administrators, their plates are already so full that, you know, I try to use a bit of a carrot. So I try to think of how school garden and any of our farm to school activities could be useful resources for other teachers. And just inviting them informally either to have a come to the garden open house or share in one of our lunches with us and start a bit of a discussion that way. I love talking about this stuff because I think it's so successful. So I'm always having conversations. And then, you know, more formally, you know, realizing for me, I did this for 5 years in a different district, and I'm 5 years into this district. So it can take a while. So don't get discouraged. But realizing that sort of being a champion at one school isn't necessarily sustainable and systemic. I started by sort of recruiting a couple other on-site educators and an administrator to have regular meetings at our school. And then we were able to branch out and connect teachers doing similar things within our district at other schools and get a hold of an associate superintendent and one of our district consultants. So I would say in my third year here, we were able to create like a district level farm to school team that has main stakeholders in the high school classrooms and just allows us to sort of further share resources and apply for other kinds of grant funding and troubleshoot things together and just kind of get a greater scope. I mean, we didn't know until we had our team going, and we sent a survey out to all the schools that something like 23 out of 29 of our schools have school garden programs, and the district wasn't even aware of that. So sort of scaling up your teams can be super helpful. We also try to get new teachers who are interested on board. We offer at least 2 professional development days every year. And I just really enjoy things like farmers markets and food not-for-profit. So I'm always having informal conversations with people involved there. So we've been able to bring in lots of local farms, organizations like Life Cycles that does fruit tree gleaning and school garden development, and they bring in their apple press every fall. You know, I talked to a gentleman who has a business here, and we started tapping our own maple trees in the winter through those kind of supports. And just also, you know, lots of people will be supportive but don't have the capacity to be involved, and other people might not just be interested. So just trying to like form relationships that are low barrier and just getting the word out there. I mean, the kids and I post on district and personal Instagram and Facebook and that sort of stuff, just to kind of like cultivate online communities that are interested and supportive. And I also do a fair amount of like brief presentations and postering at not just like district level stuff, but regional and provincial and national conferences. So if you have the capacity there, it's a really good way to connect in. And, you know, if you're like me, you might find out that you might need support and funding for other projects. So having some FaceTime with funders before putting in a formal grant application is super helpful too. Relationships to cultivate. I'm sure it's different all across the country, but within our school and our district, we have a Department of Aboriginal Education. So, and they have access to different resources, and it's our mandate in BC to sort of integrate that at all grade levels and all courses when possible. So we've been able to access some of those resources to bring elders and other local knowledge holders into food-related programs. We've taken students out to the salmon run and cooked over the fires in the fall, and to the beaches to talk about, you know, intertidal food, traditional food systems. So getting local nations and Aboriginal Education Department on board was a very rich relationship. And then just geographically, we're right next door to a small elementary school. And I'd been involved in some multi-generational garden education before. So they have a nature kindergarten class, and usually every 2 weeks during the more intensive growing periods and once a month during the winter time. We have high school kids collaborate with kindergartners. And, initially I thought it would be sort of high schoolers mentoring kindergarten students, but it's actually very reciprocal because the kindergartners, once they learn the rhythm of school, they come very prepared. They're super enthusiastic and curious, and that really rubs off on the high school kids. And the high school kids are just more like physically capable and have a bigger knowledge base and are sort of like, the kindergartners really look up to them. So it's been cool to watch those relationships develop through the garden and through food as well.